the final week of the regular season. It has gone so fast, so sad.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten. I mean, I just remember week one back in April, I think, or March. It was sometime then, and it was just, we started doing these shows frequently than we ever had, and it's been fun. It's sad. It's sad. It's almost over, man. We have two more pregame shows for the regular season. In the playoffs, we'll have our pregame show for sure. Um, and yeah, it's getting to the wire. These two teams we have they're both tied right now. So it's just, uh, it's just crazy, man. This is gonna be a good game. Last time these two teams met, they, the Dolphins scored last second, and it was a super good game. And we might get this in the playoffs next week,
Oh,
more
the
than
Ravens
likely.
versus Dolphins?
Yep. All right. So the Dolphins are the 2 seed. Ravens are the 3 seed. They're both 5-2. With the Patriots loss, and a Dolphins win, they could potentially maybe get the 1 seed back. I don't know. I think so. They played twice. Oh wait, no, never mind. They can't get it back because they both lost. Sorry, I gotta think about that sometimes. So the Dolphins can't do any better than the two, but the Ravens could possibly get the 1 seed with a win today and a Patriots loss. They might be able to get that 1 seed back for the Ravens and face the
Mm-hmm.
Broncos. But Dolphins can't do any better than two, so if they win today, they'll for sure keep that 2 seed. Um, yeah. Um, last week, these two teams, the Dolphins played the Buccaneers, destroyed them. It was a little close in the first half, but second half it was a blowout. And the Ravens are coming off of a very tough loss to the Patriots, only scoring 2 touchdowns that game. Grizzly looked really bad. Just
Yep.
not didn't look like himself coming off his suspension. He
Why?
threw so many interceptions. He didn't have Monk, who we talked about in the pregame show. He needed, and he was gonna struggle without, and it was evident. So yeah, let's talk about the visiting Ravens today, 5-2. I don't know if Lucas is with me right now, but what do they got to do
I
to
am.
win?
What they have to wait. Which team?
The Ravens.
The Ravens. What the Ravens have to do, they just stop making mistakes. You know, Grizzly. He's clearly been well doing not shit, but not good really. Recently, he has just always been off, except when he's facing like the Buccaneers or a super shit team. Whenever he's not facing a super shit team recently, he's just been compelled to just do dog shit for no reason at the start of the game. And that's the reason why they lost against the Patriots. That's the reason why they lost against the Dolphins. I mean, if he just had a perfect game, like he had been doing throughout the other weeks, where he faced really good teams and just was doing good, he would have won both of those games. The Dolphins wouldn't have had a chance to get the last second touchdown because they would have been down by maybe more scores than that. And if they were just more, decent in the Patriots game, they would have probably crushed the Patriots. As the Patriots aren't a perfect offense, they're still kind of growing as the season's been going on. So what the Ravens need to do is just stop making mistakes and being stupid with the football, which I'm not sure Grizzly's going to be able to do because does like to be a risk taker, and he's kind of been shown to be like Bubby from last season, where Bubby would just make way too many mistakes. He would just kind of cause them to lose. But now Grizzlies been kind of doing that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing when you can get 80-yard games, but it is a bad thing when you're throwing 40-yard pick sixes to Bubby. Uh, so it just isn't that good. It's not a good mindset, and hopefully, he can get out of it, especially with a good win here. If they can get a decent win here against the Dolphins, which are a pretty solid team, that will probably put him in a good mindset in the playoffs. But if they lose here, mark my words, Ravens aren't making the Super Bowl if they lose this game.
Well, I would say I can't say agree because the Ravens are going to be without Monte, so it's going to be a tough game. But in the
Oh yeah,
playoffs,
they're losing.
Monk will be here. I mean, if he doesn't show for the playoffs, he's just doing it on purpose. He doesn't care for this team. They're most likely this team will be playing each other in the playoffs next week, back to back. This is basically just saying who gets the
Hmm.
home field advantage.
Yeah.
So, um, basically, the Ravens, I mean, they're Super Bowl. I think all four teams that are in the playoffs could make the Super Bowl. Obviously,
Oh yeah, for
the
sure.
1 through 3 third seed is the best. Like they're obviously the best. They all are really close in games. I mean,
Yeah, it's just the Ravens can't afford to make mistakes like they have been against really good teams
if they're
because
willing to make
every single
mistakes,
team
this
is
is
really
the week to
good.
do so. But I think Grizzly got it all out of his system. He'll be good. This is the best defense in the league, but they have lost a lot. They've gained Goober, but he hasn't played since
Yeah,
week 8
that's a
last
great
year,
addition.
since his loss, and he retired. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
especially without Monk, I just don't see them winning this game. I just
I
don't see
think
it
his
being
targets will be
possible.
KZ, who's been a little consistent. He's been consistent. He was actually had a good first, like the first quarter he was really good, and then he was kind of quiet, but yeah. And then I don't know who else will be, or maybe probably Tibbs, but they just got to play better. Goober's gonna be starting today. He
I
signed.
mean, it's probably just gonna be Casey this game, especially since Tibbs lags a lot. His lag. It's not his fault, but his lag is very inconsistent. So, I mean, it just kind of puts pressure on Grizz. So, I mean, if Casey does really good getting open and being consistent with Grizz, they'll be fine. But I just see him only having that connection with Monk, and especially since he's not showing up and he's been not on the best of games recently. I just don't see him doing as good. But there's a chance, but I don't see it.
Yeah, this is Let's talk about the Dolphins. They just signed Goober. Sean is gone. He was throughout the whole season. The Dolphins have just never had their QB1. They've had Sean's Fish start, then Sean, and then
I
both,
mean,
and then
Fish is
both have
better.
looked
Like
better than
for
most
one of
some
those
weeks.
quarterbacks to
Stop
leave,
interrupting
it
me!
should have been Fish.
All right, they've been uh just some weeks it looked like Sean was the best, and some weeks it looked like Fish was the best. It just never Nathan never named a start until like last week. Fish secured it. Sean got a little angry over that, but they made an agreement saying Sean would play the rest of the regular season. Fish would do the postseason in the playoffs. But it looks like Fish is getting the game this week, and then Sean was unhappy, left, joined Denver. Goober came here, and now is the quarterback. I guess it doesn't make. I guess
Wait,
that's just how
Goober's
it
the
is.
quarterback?
Yeah, Goober's QB1.
Oh wait, they're losing. What am I talking about? The
Goober hasn't
fuck?
played. So let's give a little recap on
No, the
Goober.
Dolphins are actually losing.
Sorry. Sorry.
You gotta tell me these things, man. I sound like a fucking idiot.
You're not letting me talk, man. Alright. Let's talk. Let's give a recap on Goober. Goober last season was the #1 overall QB and pick in the season 3 draft by the Falcons, and Nathan was the head coach. So they're reunited in that case. Goober obviously was the head coach for season 1 and 2, having best regular season records in the history of the league. Um, then losing in the playoffs in the Super Bowl really hurt him. And then he came out as quarterback, and then I think he had a pretty good season last year. Lim was his best receiver, his main target, but Lim's gone. I mean, he would have Lim if Lim were here. But Lim's gone. Now he
Yeah.
doesn't really have that receiver.
I
You
don't
know,
know
I've
why
never really
Fish
seen him
isn't
throw
gonna
more.
start.
But
Why is
but
Fish not gonna
what ended this guy's career was week 8 against the Cowboys. When the Falcons win in the playoffs, and then Goober, that shot, he had Jim open, didn't hit it. It's been haunting Jim ever since. He talks about it. So yeah,
all
and
the
then that was
time?
the end of Goober, and now he's back after 2 months, and he's saying he still has it. So we'll have to see tonight.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Dolphins lost. I mean,
this might be
I
a
don't.
weird
Everything I
game.
said about the Ravens before, ignore that. Ravens won the game. They're
What
winning
should
in a
the
blowout.
Dolphins do today,
Get
Lucas?
Fish online. That's probably their best bet at this point right
Goober
now.
did say he doesn't want to play for any team if he's not at least getting a chance at quarterback to start.
You know, I respect Nathan as a coach. I respect the decision, but I also think it's probably the worst thing he could have done. But I mean, he's in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. If this was a play-in game, I'd call him autistic. But because it isn't, I really could care less because we all know he's not playing quarterback in the playoffs. But realistically, if they really wanted to win this game, they would try their best to get Fish on, which they probably did try. I know Nathan. He wants to win. He doesn't want to lose week 8. But at the same time, when Goob is starting quarterback, respectfully, he's only able to make short throws. He's like Sean, but he has no glimpses of greatness. He just only makes short
Are you
throws.
just saying
That
this
one
because
play
you
where
and
they
Goober
run.
are fighting?
No, he's dog shit last year. Did you see him? Oh my
I
goodness.
just think he was just he wasn't
Mid.
consistent. He was just
Well, yeah, well,
decent.
he was inconsistent by not
He had
being
really
that
good
good.
shots he made and looked really, really good. And then there was games that he threw too many interceptions, which lost him the game. Interceptions lose games, obviously, and the interceptions he threw made him lose. But then there were games he looked really good and like the best quarterback, and then there was games he just
Mm,
didn't look good.
I
Like he's facing Grizzly, who last time these two met were the Patriots Falcons game. Goob's return to New England did not go well. Um, Grizzly didn't. I don't think he might have only sacked him once. Like Grizzly didn't have a good. Goob just throws the ball away when he doesn't see. He doesn't force it. He throws it away. Smart. Unless it's fourth down, he'll force it obviously because that's a fourth down play. But Goober's a
mhm.
smart quarterback at some points. He
He's
doesn't force too
smart,
many
but
things to the middle linebacker at least. When the middle
mhm.
linebacker's there, he throws it away. But the interceptions come when just
He's
not on
pressured.
target pressure. But it's just he will see if he still has it, and then don't know what his role will be if it
Well,
doesn't work for him on this team, but we'll see. Oh,
respectfully, he never
Monk's here.
really
This
had
might be
it.
a field day. I
Oh,
guess he lied. Monk lied, guys. That's what a lot
no,
of players do in the league.
respectfully to Goober McSmooch 44, he never really necessarily had it. So this is probably his only game to get it. But the fact that he hasn't played in over 3 months, and also the fact that he wasn't really the best when he played. Not like the best as in best at QB, but best in like on his team. I mean, it was kind of easy to see that he just if they had a better quarterback, they make the playoffs. That was just how it kind of went. So it kind of seems like he could drag down the Dolphins, but there's a chance he could do really well. But when you're facing Grizzly as an MLB, he's like you said, he's a smart quarterback. He isn't going to force it to the MLB, but that means he's going to throw it away every other play. And unless they do that one shitty play, which I think you banned or something, where they run in front and they just shoot. Did you ban that or no? I heard that you might
No,
ban
I
that.
didn't ban
Okay.
it, but
Then
because
then they'll probably be fine on third and fourth downs because it's not a run, so they can just keep doing that the whole game.
it just
Because
depends
they
if they're smart with it. If they throw it on the line of scrimmage, then it's a run, obviously, because it's not behind or it's
Yeah, and Goober
not
hasn't done it in a
over the line
while,
of
but I
scrimmage.
think he'll be fine with that play. But at the same time, it's really just like, how is he going to do with this new offense? How is he going to do with everything stated? And when he can't make throws like Fish, they have to completely change their offense. I'm just saying, if they're down by 2 scores and there's like 2 minutes left, he's not pulling a Fish and shooting an 80-yard shot. His best shot is going to be a 15-yard shot. That's probably an out route. That's his best play, probably. I see him
Also, I
doing,
want
or
to
just
say
8 yarder.
that without Fish here, their defense isn't. Fish has been
Oh
getting
yeah, no, they're
interceptions
gonna
from
have a terrible
every
defense this
game.
game.
They're
Simple as that. They're
That's
gonna
their
have a
best
terrible
defensive player,
defense.
probably their best all-around player on the
I mean,
team.
they had Sean, who didn't really get interceptions, but he was kind of just covering, and he was pretty good, pretty decent. And they had Fish, who was he was letting up a lot, but he was also getting a lot of turnovers. And whenever he was letting up, the quarterback was just autistic and never passing his way, which really kind of saved him. He was like Trevon Diggs in real life, but if the quarterbacks never took advantage of him being Trevon Diggs. So he has really big advantage there. But the fact that neither Sean is on the team and Fish isn't showing up, and the fact that they're not going to have as good of an offense, I actually see the Ravens blowing them out by 30 points.
All right, now let's talk about who the MVP for both teams will be.
The MVP for the Dolphins is going to be killer. It's been killer almost every single week, besides maybe like one or two. And it's going to be killer this week. They aren't going to win. They aren't going to even be close. But if you're going to have to say if it's the best player on anyone on the Dolphins today, it's going to be killer. And on the Ravens, it's going to be Grizzly. Actually, no, it's going to be Shot Grizzly, I see him making at least one or two mistakes, but I don't see it mattering when you're up by 20, especially when it's his final 60 to 45. They'll be fine. And because Shot just the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. He just does the things that other teams can't. And he has one of the better quarterbacks, so obviously he has advantage over other wide receivers. But even then, he's still better. He has cleaner routes, cleaner stuff. He's just better. He's gonna do best, and he's gonna have an awesome game.
All right, for my MVP on the Dolphins, it will probably Killer too. I mean, he's been getting pressure at middle linebacker a lot. Um, and then for receiver, he'll probably be the main target. Nathan lags too much. Nathan I could see him maybe snagging up one pick. He's a good corner, just he lags too much on offense, makes it hard to throw to a lagging receiver. Killer guy, but yeah. And then for the Ravens, I could see it being Monk, to be honest. I just think he's gonna have an easier day, just getting down the
Yeah,
field. The Ravens should win this one
they
easily.
should win it by a blowout.
And then you have score predictions. What do you think the final score will
Score
be?
prediction? I want to say they're gonna win by 70, just because I don't really like the Dolphins lineup. Not that I don't like Goob or anything. It's just I really hate the way they're doing this offense. I think it's actually a terrible, terrible offense compared against a decent defense. But at the same time, I do want to give respect to Goober and the team because they still have a decent team. They have Killer, they have Nathan, they have Goob. They don't have a terrible team. I see them scoring, but don't see them ever getting close to 2 possession game. I see it being a 3 or 4 possession game. So I'm gonna have to go with 58-32. I think this is gonna be a huge blowout, and especially for a team of this caliber. And it's going to be a really big boost up for Grizz and a really big boost down for the Dolphins. And, I don't see a bright future for the Dolphins after this game.
So for me, I gotta say for the fucking Dolphins, um, they're not gonna. I just can't. Goober, they only have him at quarterback. If he's not good, then they don't really have a fallback option besides Nathan. So I don't think they care too much because they know that they're in the
Well, yeah, they're in
playoffs. They'll
the play.
most
That's
likely
why I feel
play
like
this
they made
team.
this. Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it'll be. I like your score prediction a lot. I just think the Dolphins will score probably around like in the 30s, maybe
Mm-hmm.
might get to 40, but I just think the Ravens will be on top here in the 50s. Monk has been getting just knows how to get open. Grizz knows how to hit the open shots, but struggles when he
Yeah.
doesn't have anything open, obviously. And with his backup receivers, he can't hit them. So it'll be Monk today. That'll lead him to this. Grizzly hitting him. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
Grizz might get an interception or two because he knows how. He's a good middle linebacker when it comes to that sometimes, and the sacks.
Yeah.
And Goobers just hasn't played in a while, so yeah. Kickoff will be shortly, and we'll see you then.